Pat, brother, welcome to the show, man.
Welcome, man.
This
Thank
is
you
awesome.
so much, man.
Yeah, man. How long you been growing that mustache for? Like, that's a man's mustache, dude. How long?
So, I cut it off, I think, early January, because I did November, and it was getting, like, to a point I was so long. I was, like, having, like, cheese leftovers in it.
Oh,
and I'm like,
no.
And then my fiance was just like, Pat, you gotta cut it off.
Like, sweetie, it's got to go.
It's got to go. If not, you gotta sleep on the bed, on the couch, or the sped bedroom. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, so for that reason, you're like...
Cut it out and then grow it back.
Yeah, that was always the plan?
Oh, man. I think a mustache is the key.
Yeah,
like,
dude, that's the part I'm missing. You know, it says I'm like, I got it all filled out. It's just, nope.
No. I think it's just funny, man. For like such a long period of time, like mustache, we're just like, no, mustache are gross. And then now I'm able to grow like a decent mustache, and I'm like, oh,
you're bringing it back,
yeah? Oh, bringing it back. Dude.
Yeah? Decent, dude. So, how do we get here, man? Tell me and everyone listening and watching, who I appreciate, by the way, because this is our first in-person podcast of 2021, so this is huge. I'm excited. How'd you kind of get here from your transition after high school? Like, what was that like? Yeah, like the process of it.
Oh, man. It was one hell of a process. Yeah? Oh, dude. From, like, high school, like, I graduated high school, and I was, like, such an immature kid.
In what way?
Oh, all the ways. All the ways. And I'm still very immature in the sense of, like, farts make me laugh. But...
Dude, I get it.
I think it's the funniest thing. So I graduated high school and playing very competitive volleyball. And then I was just like, oh, the dream is university ball. And then probably professional.
Yeah.
But then like I realized like school was kind of very important, which was like a thing I didn't really concentrate in high school.
Yeah.
I was just going to school just to play ball.
Whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
To get to the court.
C's give you degrees or whatever. Whatever that saying is. And then so I went to college, and then I was just like, oh, this is fun, but I want to play bigger volleyball. Mm-hmm. So I went to like a 1-year class at La Cité, then shift to like Cégep in Quebec, in Gatineau. So I'm from the Ottawa region,
right? And
did a semester there, and I was like, came up, watched myself in the mirror. I'm like, Pat, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah,
like, yeah, you're an okay volleyball player, but like this is not gonna pay the bills,
right?
So
yeah, unfortunately,
yeah. Sad. Darn it, right? And then so basically dropped out, took a year off, and then my sister got recruited to play volleyball here.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, and then I was just like, you know what? Probably it's a good time for me to get out of the house from mom and dad and like figure life on my own.
Yeah.
Which gave me pretty much big perspective on like what person or what things I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. So, and I came here and graduated from health and fitness promo at Boreal.
Nice.
Then went a year back home when I graduated. Worked as a physio assistant. And now basically went back to school again for like an intensive like 1.5 program in massage therapy. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh cool, massage therapy is the way to do now. So right now like it was like a lot of like learning experiences along the way.
Yeah, what was one you thought, with that being said, what was one that stood out to you that made you choose massage therapy? Because in what you said, it kind of seemed like that was something that just came to the front of your feet and you're like, yeah, let's try it out. And it seemed to work out.
Yeah.
Right?
So it came to like when I dropped out, it was just like, okay, Pat, you got to get the fuck out of the home. Mm-hmm. Like figure it out by yourself. Like mom and dad are great, but like you got to figure out by yourself. Mm-hmm. And so when I went out, came back home, I was working as a physio assistant, which was great money, stable job, but I was just like, I knew how much the physios were making and the massage therapists were making. I'm like, I'm here making like not enough. And then it came to me like, oh, I was already a personal trainer at the commercial gym. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, how much? And like in the community I was in, I was not very good at marketing myself.
Okay, in what way?
And in the way of like, oh, come see me, I'll help you lose weight.
Yeah.
That type of things.
Yeah, it's tricky.
So I was like, massage therapy, physiotherapy, they have insurance and benefits, like benefits money. I'm like, oh, this could be a good thing.
Cool, yeah.
And then I was like, physio would be really cool, but then 6 years of education.
After the few you've already done?
Yeah, after the few I've already done, I'm like, no,
thanks. Yeah.
And that's not gonna happen. And I'm not a smart kid. Like, let's just say, like, I got a lot.
Yeah.
I graduated college and I was like, okay, we're good here.
Like, that's it.
That's
if
it.
I don't need to do any more than this, I'm good.
Yeah,
I get
and
that.
it was basically massage therapy or physio. And I'm like, a 1.5 year program,
Yeah.
I'm in. So I took
Nice.
that, like, and it was in a community, like a private college.
Oh, cool.
So it was a 1.5 year intensive.
Where was it? You said?
It's like it's called the International Academy of Applied Sciences
Oh, cool.
in
Okay.
Nepean. I don't know if you.
Dude, I lived on Woodfield. So
Oh.
off of Woodruff.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, dude.
fairly close up there. It's like on
No way. Nice.
the other.
For 4 years. So yes, I do know exactly where Nepean is.
Yeah, and close to that McDonald's where I went way too often.
Oh, dude, I have a for your show or another show.
Yeah, you have to come on the Double Patty
Dude, I'm
podcast.
in. Okay, for sure. Appreciate that.
And so, yeah, where was I with that story? Yeah, the switch was just like, I need to make more money.
Yeah.
And I was just like, personal training is good, physiotherapist is good,
Yeah.
assistant physiotherapist is good, but how can I get to make more money the fastest I can?
Right.
And like try to live on my own terms, so.
Yeah, which is huge for the growth and development of somebody. Yeah, it's that's weird because there's a lot of resentment because I found myself in this situation as well. Once I finished my school, I was like, people are like, oh, you can do 2 years now instead of 4 at Ryerson for a building science degree, and I was like, no, I'm good.
Right?
I'm
like,
good.
So like that's a big thing, right? Like you finish, you push yourself for like a university degree,
Yeah.
whatever program you're in, you go balls to the wall for that program. And you're like, I'm gonna get that best grade possible. Whatever you're there for partying on the weekends, or showing up on exam day and
Yeah.
making that 70, you're still there to giving your all.
Yeah.
And after you're done that and working so hard for this, you're like, it's over.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm gonna focus on bigger projects.
Right.
And like for us, I think like we're surrounded by really cool people that did really cool shit.
Yeah.
So it's like, do I need a master's degree?
It is weird. Yeah, it's almost intimidating. And I don't know if you found this with your programs that you've been in, but I had a lot of people who, when I was doing it, I was like fresh out of high school, right? So I was young. But there was a lot of people who were older, like not just 4 or 5, but like they were like 30s, like mid 30s, early 40s, and they're doing it again, or they're doing it to increase education or increase the salary if they come and take this program. I don't know if you found that a lot, but it's intimidating.
Yeah, so like when I graduated high school, went to La Cité, it was like a lot of fresh people out of school.
Really?
Then I went like out of high school.
Yeah.
Went to Cégep, same thing. And the Quebec education system is pretty good. Because before you go to like university, you do like 2 years in like Cégep, which is like equivalent of like grade 12, 13, and like your first year of college.
Why do they do that?
I have no clue.
You know? What's it like?
It's like, think of a college environment,
Yeah.
but like with kids of like 19 to 21 years old.
Right, with high school level courses, or is it
Like a semi high school, mid like lower
transitional?
Yeah,
Is it like a lot of general courses that you can pick to kind of?
a lot of general, but you also have like specialty programs like trade schools, nursing.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So instead of like going straight from like high school to university,
Yeah.
which a bigger transition. Like I'm sure for you, I never went to university. Don't plan to go to university.
No, me neither.
And I was just like, I like with the trouble I had like transitioning from high school to college. I think the system in Quebec is easier to transition from.
Really?
Yeah, because you go high school, college, like you're obligated to do college.
You're obligated. It's not. You're like, hey,
Yeah.
when you finish, you're not done. You're just done at this building.
Yeah, you're done at this building. You go to Cégep,
Wow.
which is intense, right? Like, but a lot of like some of the I have one athlete I'm coaching right now
Yeah.
who did this transition. A couple of them did it, and they're like a lot more mature going into the next phase of their life.
In what way? Like they're more aware?
Yeah.
That would make sense. I'm like, I'd probably be more aware of what my interests are.
Yeah, because like
Ah,
you have no choice of doing 2 years, either in like
Yeah.
social sciences
Okay.
or like legit sciences.
Ah.
So that way, okay, what's your general interest? Like
Yeah.
science, physics, chemistry, or like politics, philosophy.
And they kind of like what? Because I'm trying to understand this as best as possible. So, is it you have kind of like a stream that you go down to figure out, to almost narrow in and zone into what your potential could be for what you want to study?
Yeah,
Is that
yeah,
kind of like the
exactly.
idea?
So like,
Okay.
so if you want to be like a gym teacher,
Yeah.
but you graduate high school, you're like, I would like to be a gym teacher.
Yeah.
You would take like real sciences,
Okay, yeah.
like Scientology,
Yeah.
courses, and like, oh, is actually being a gym teacher what I want to be?
You get like a heads up without spending.
Like the $40,000.
Yeah. Is it that expensive? Like, not for. Like,
It's cheaper in Quebec.
Yeah.
Compared to Ontario.
But for that like 2-year in between
It's
college.
super cheap.
Yeah.
Super
That's
cheap.
sick. That's genius, man. I never knew that.
So imagine like it's the equivalent of like, remember like, I don't know if your parents did that, but like grade 13 or victory laps.
Hell no.
Okay, so like,
No, they did. My 2 older brothers did one, but I was like, it was a little like no. And then I got accepted to a cool program out of the city, so I was like, sayonara.
Peace.
Yeah, that's it.
so think of like people that do victory laps,
Yeah.
or tend to be more aware of what they want to do and like how to figure their life out.
Everybody who said they do that, that's exactly what it is.
So like
Yeah.
for me, if I would have like, and I was on the verge of doing a victory lap. If I would have done a victory lap, I think I would have like been in a better spot of being more aware of what I wanted to be.
Really?
Instead of like spending 15,000 15 grand on like a college program that was just very general.
Rest in peace to your wallet.
Oh man.
Oh man.
Thank you, OSAP. You know what I mean?
Dude.
And then like,
Yeah.
but I'm kind of glad I did those choices, because now I did not only the public, like bigger school programs,
Right.
but I also did a private program. So now like,
Okay, yeah, I get it.
so like, let's say now like, fast forward that in like probably 18 years when I have kids, I'm like,
Yeah.
yo, what's better? Invest a year and a half in yourself to complete a program, whatever program you want to do, or spend 4 years of your life, summers off,
Yeah.
and then you start work later and you're like, oh, this is not really what I want to do. You got to put another 4 years.
Yeah, and it's a tricky spot for sure, dude, because I remember that similar situation, but when you're in that position and it looks good on paper what you're doing, right? Very good to your parents, and it's what your parent. It's not so much what you're trying to prove to them; it's what they're holding you accountable for them trying to prove to their friends. It's like, my son's studying this, my son did this, my son did that. Pump the brakes. Are they enjoying themselves? Like, I've had jobs where I'm doing it and I'm making more money. I'm feeling happier. I'm learning more. I'm enjoying waking up every day. I'm working longer. I'm like, oh, this is great. You know, I'm learning. And it's not directly what I studied in school. So it's like, when are you going to start going back to this? Or when are you going to... I'm like, there's no going back. I did that, I understand, and I learned. But that's a 5-year trial run to find out that it wasn't for you, right? Let's say a year in that position you don't like, and the 4 you mentioned with studying. That's 5 years of going through something you don't like just for other people.
Yeah.
It's weird.
And like, I don't know for you, but for me, it was always super scary being in the health and fitness field, because it's my passion.
Right.
So like, I try to like get a job or a normal job to be able to like still do the thing I loved.
Okay.
So like,
yeah.
I was pushing away my passion just to do like something fun, like that was going to pay the bills.
Yeah.
Instead of like my job paying the bill, like,
So,
what I love.
Financially sustain your hobbies.
Yeah.
Or your passion projects, I should say.
And that's weird, right? Like,
It is.
it's
Yeah.
like, oh, I need to get, and that goes back to what you just said. It's
Yeah.
like, it's looking good on paper.
Yeah.
It's not
for
like
somebody else.
subjectively better for yourself.
No. Interesting. No, it's not. It definitely is something that's, I think, tricky. And I'd love to get into like why that is the issue, because I see that more nowadays, and I think the problem is with the internet now. People have this way of thinking that's, oh well, there's a lot of resources and people out there that say, oh, this isn't a good thing. College isn't, rat race, 9 to 5. I'm like, first of all, most days I start at 9 and I end at 5. Most days I start before and end after. But I love my job. But it's different. because I created that job for myself.
Yeah.
Right? I aligned myself with certain people. I took initiative to learn things and grow. I progressed in ways that I was proud of. I was never attached to a job. And I think that's huge, because I think the term 9 to 5 is iffy, because there are days where I start at 9, end at 5, and I could not be happier. I'm smiling all day. I love my boss, love the people I work with. No issues. I make good money and I leave. But then there are days where people are like, oh, rat race. I'm like, I think the rat race term, where we're all just spinning in a wheel until we find what we do and then go after hours to learn it, right? It's like, not really. If you enjoy it, like, I'd still be doing what I'm doing. I enjoy learning about what I'm doing. This is something I think, somebody asked me the other, actually, like, do you ever get these weird DMs, or not weird DMs, but you ever get messages on Instagram, for say, that people ask you something, or they're like, hey, I noticed you follow this guy, hey, and then you just start a conversation? Does that ever happen to you?
Well, that's another thing. Like you said, I think, like, just to complete that idea of, like, rat race, I think rat race, the term there, I think is just used for people that don't know what they want to do.
Interesting.
So, because, like, people are going to take it, like, for myself, like, I was going in a job just to, like, sustain my hobbies. If I could work 9 to 5 or 8 to 4 and then go play ball, train whatever I want after, it's my time.
Right. That makes sense.
But the term rat race, I've read Rich Dad Poor Dad twice.
Yeah,
and
so have I,
I'm like, okay, cool, rat race, I get that, the 9 to 5, but, like, when you start, it's like 9 to 9, 8 to 8.
Yeah,
there's no stop on the clock.
Blood from your ears. You hate it. You can never learn fast enough.
But those weird DMs, it's fun, because, like, people are trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
So, like, like, for me, someone send me your podcast.
Oh, nice.
And then I was like, I thought it was super dope. It's like, because my buddy Pat and I, we have a podcast in town, and we're like, fuck, this is cool. There's another podcast in town.
I love it. It's sick. I love finding that out.
And I'm like, fuck, I'm going to listen to that show. If he has a podcast in town.
That was my thought, too. That was my exact thought.
Why not, like, what's the quote? Like, the tide rise all ships, or whatever?
Yeah. Oh, man. I don't know.
But
something like that. I know what you're talking about, though.
And
I'm gonna figure it out in a minute.
Because, like, you, for me, when Pat and I started the podcast, we basically just, like, there's life on the rocks.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is a cute little, very interesting podcast of, like, 15 to 45 minutes TV show. Right?
Yeah, which I think the TV show cool. idea of doing it that way, I think you're right, it is cool. Potential is not as great.
And like,
but that could just be me. That could just be my opinion.
Yeah, but it's nice to see, like, now, like, a lot of, like, independent people just like, you know what, I just want to talk on the internet and then try to meet as many people as we did.
That's it.
Right?
That's all it really is.
Because like we were talking before we put the camera on. Like, the amount of cool people we've met just
it's weird. It's awesome.
Like, it's fucked up, man.
It's really messed up. It's really messed up. I don't understand.
Like, you've met so many cool people in your show, and like, I'm the 55th episode.
Yeah.
Number 55.
Sir. Yes, sir.
But like, the amount of cool people, not only in town that you met and connected with, or like around the province and around the country. Yeah. You're just saying, like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah, what is my role in this, dude? Like, do I just bring all of it together? There's something that I want to do eventually, and it's like my buddy mentioned it a while ago. My buddy Josh, who was way on earlier, he's a really cool guy, teacher, everything. It was something along the lines of, like, creating this resource website or portal, like app portal, where you can go and you like reach out to people in the networks. And like, oh, I want to study business. Well, these are the business people I've had on. This is how you could reach them. These are frequently asked questions they get. So you're not just reaching out to you to wasting your time if you've already answered it 50 times. So you've answered a couple and you're like, FAQ, blah, 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 blah. And then they're like, FAQ, Pat? Oh, okay, perfect. They don't have to like email you or anything.
Yeah.
So,
but I think it's cool creating that resource, right?
It is sweet. It is sweet. Did you, and we'll get more into the podcast later, but I'm wondering, when it came to, like, you teach as well, right, at Boreal?
Yeah.
How'd that come to fruition? Because you, for somebody who says you didn't like school too much, it was kind of something you're not avoiding, but you're like, when I'm done this, I'm done this.
100% avoiding.
Yeah.
That's the
yeah? Okay, I was sure. Man,
I'll tell you a story right now.
Okay, fire away.
So graduating year, so grade 12, I was playing with the Mavericks in Ottawa.
Nice.
We have a coach meeting, player meeting, and like, so Pat, what are you doing next year? What? There's something after this?
Hold on.
You want me to go somewhere else? What? So how's school, Pat? Well, it's an option. my grade 12 year, and it's funny because now I'm a teacher and I'm like a program, and I'm like, how it's not correlated, right?
Yeah.
So right now my role as a teacher is just like how to create valuable information for the kids.
Smart.
Because as a kid who didn't like school, I just wanted to know what's going to serve me for the future, for the job.
Right.
So like, per se, if I were to learn how to do a proper budget or proper taxes, like my taxes properly in school, I would have been probably more interested because it's something I could apply every year or every day.
It's relevant for sure.
But like in school, like learning about Pythagoras triangle, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
This is math? Like, this is one of my life.
This is math. Yeah.
Gravity?
What? What are Newtons? Yeah.
So, like, right now, like, as a teacher, I'm teaching in health and fitness promo, and I'm teaching a, like, skill acquisition coaching class. And
cool.
So it's really, really cool. And a sports psychology class.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's just like, okay, at the end of the day, those two courses I'm teaching go hand in hand because you got to teach someone how to do a skill, but how do you communicate that information to someone?
Interesting, yeah.
And since I've been, like, as a massage therapist, personal trainer, whatever I'm doing right now, my job is making sure I communicate proper information.
I see. That's important. Wow.
So since I've started doing the podcast on my end, I'm like, I'm such a better communicator.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I dropped a lot of F-bombs. I already dropped like 4 already, and I've counted them. And
I appreciate that. Yeah, I think 10's our limit.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
We're not on a network. I don't give a crap. If I was on Eastlink, I couldn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Think of that. Back to On the Rocks. I'm like, I couldn't do this on a TV show. I couldn't do this. I have a TV show. Couldn't drop bombs.
And
that's too funny.
So, and that was one way. Like, I'm trying to like abort as many real authentic conversation with a student.
Right.
I could teach them about all the theory about how you acquire a skill, or like how the psychology works. Mm-hmm. But is that relevant for the kid? Like, the kid just needs to like what to do when that problem happens.
Right. So you're trying to figure out from his perspective, like you put yourself in his shoes.
Yeah.
Or her shoes or their shoes, whatever. You put your shoes of the student.
Yeah.
And you're like, all right, how would they best benefit from my communication kind of thing?
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
And so like the clients the student I'm teaching, going back to this, it's like they're having, like right now I'm teaching them on Zoom.
Right.
It's not most ideal. Like I've seen the podcast you've done. It's like amazing work for podcasts on Zoom.
Brother. Appreciate it.
And you look at it and
it's annoying.
It is, right? It's like not ideal. You're like, okay, cool. This is a great alternative.
Way better this way.
Interaction. Feed off the energy a bit more.
Exactly. Yeah.
And because you're not in your room alone talking to
and like the basement communication, dude. Oh man. Yeah, it's bad. So
back to those students, they have clients throughout their final semester to work out with.
Oh, cool.
So like they have like a personal training course. They like working with like employees of the college and try to like get them to train.
Interesting.
But as of right now, like, do you want to like in the lockdown we just had? Did you want to train? It's in your basement or like move the kitchen table.
If it's through Zoom and I have to clear space to work out, no.
So
no, it's annoying. Yeah.
So for the kids, the big thing was just like you just need to be a support system for them.
Right.
Like they're already unmotivated. Just try to find a way to create motivation through those clients.
Right. Interesting.
Because I think it needs the information needs to be reliable too.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Because like for me, being a bad student in high school, I was just like, I'm not captivated by this. This is not interesting to me.
Right. So being able to communicate how to spark that interest is huge. Yeah.
But like one of the first thing I was doing in that class, since it's more theoretical based, I'm like, what do you guys want to learn?
Huh. Nice.
So that way I could like channel the course, even though I have the plan and the outline of the course, I could take time aside to like talk about something.
Okay, cool.
So for another example, 2 weeks ago, me and the students I had were out of it. We're like, no, we don't want to be here.
Just forget it, eh?
So like, okay, cool. Like, let's talk about something else. What you've been binging on Netflix.
Nice.
That was a conversation for 2 hours.
Cobra Kai.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
That's
awesome.
And then we segue into like, what's the psychology of like, Mr. Miyagi, like, and then we like apply the concept we've been learning throughout that conversation.
Interesting. Just find a way to tie it back to what you're learning.
Yeah, I think that.
Cool.
So I think for me, it's like a big portion of it. It's like if I cannot apply something to something else, or find a way to like have a lateral thought from point A to point B, and go from like a different direction. Yeah. Like it's not worth it to me.
Right.
Like you want to be able to like apply different systems or thoughts to different ideas, to one idea, I should say.
Right. That makes sense. Was there, when you talk about how students would motivate their clients, or I guess like the professionals in the school, how would they go about, like, what was one tactic or technique that stood out to you that they would use to motivate their students?
So we haven't digged into that deep yet. Okay. But like one thing was just like creating accountability, messaging them.
I like that.
Them. Like, hey,
I like that already. Yeah.
And like for me, I'm having an online coach, someone that trains me online. Yeah. Sends me programming and he's like, hey, if you don't want to train today, that's fine. So like, not only creating accountability with the client, but also giving them a break of like, hey, it's okay to feel like shit.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because
it's reality.
It's reality, right?
At the end of the day,
So, yeah, we all want to push PRs and like have a better
that's the goal,
better total, better lift, better picture to post on Instagram. But at the end of the day, like if you cannot be happy with yourself, how can you be objective?
Huh. Makes sense.
So like a lot of the students and they're using that method a lot. It's like try to find subjective measures to dial in the objective measures.
Smart.
So like how you feel basically. So how do you feel? It's going to build how much you want.
That makes sense.
Instead of like having, okay, I need to make 8,000 steps plus. Yeah. If you don't feel like making 8,000 steps today, don't. It's okay.
That's so accountability, eh? 8,000 steps. You don't have to do it. Huh. That's a good one though. I think just as you said, not much into it already, but that sounds like a very good, simple but extremely effective is making people feel accountable for like their goals. Like at the end of the day, that's why they're doing it, right? So I think that's super important, dude. That's really cool. Interesting. I never would have like thought. Now what I'm wondering actually is how'd you get the teaching job? Like how does that happen?
Oh, so that like
apply for it or?
Oh man, that's
like, hell no. Bro, not even close.
So when I was in college and through that health and fitness promo program, I was doing a lot of like marketing contracts with them and like recruitment, traveling while I was in school.
Oh, cool.
And then during the summer, I did pretty much a lot of gigs around the city to talk about the college. Then I messaged the coordinator. I'm like, hey, I'm coming back to Sudbury to live. If you have any teaching opportunity, I'd be down.
Yeah, for it.
But if you don't, that's totally fine. If I could help you in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, just like this is something that I could do. It'd be sick.
And because at that point when I came back to Sudbury, I was not a massage therapist yet. I just graduated school. I was studying for my board exam. So I'm like, money is very uncertain right now. And then like throughout the summer, she's like, hey, do you want a job? We got an opening.
Let's go.
I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, man. Sign me up. Where do I sign?
Nice. Perfect.
And like that was a big transition now to like where I am. So
that's cool, man. That's really cool. Now, with motivation being something that I can imagine is huge because you work out, it seems like every single day.
Yes.
And you're not doing like toe touches and push-ups. You're doing like heavy lifts, dude. Like here's the thing. Check this out. I get like muscle fatigue from watching you do your lifts. That's not a joke. That's serious. I'm watching and I'm like, why are my hamstrings sore? Oh yeah, because I'm watching Pat do a power clean of over, which you're like, what, you have the, like, what was it, like 380 pounds or something? It's like your max or something like that?
Oh, probably.
Some absurd number? Because you mentioned it on your show. And I was like, what was it? Yeah, I wrote it down. It was 385 pound clean and jerk.
Yes.
And then right after, I think you talk about longevity, which I think is the most hilarious, like, contradictory thing. You're like, yeah, I think the longevity. And I was like, this is amazing. So what, like, how do you, because you're saying you're talking about keeping, like, accountability and everything, and that the coach who coaches you said, man, if you feel like crap, you don't train. What do you use to motivate yourself, or to stay disciplined, I should say?
All right, man. I'm happy. I'm like, so right. So I close my phone, but just to don't get disturbed. But on my phone, I got like my goals on my screen.
You write them out and everything. Perfect. That's same.
I think everyone in the lockdown last year at this time listened to the "Can't Hurt Me" by David Goggins or whatever.
Yeah.
So that accountability mirror. So I got my goals on my whiteboard at the office.
Nice.
In my apartment, in the garage gym, at the office, on my phone.
Everywhere.
I'll show you in a couple
It's always
seconds.
coming up. Yeah, perfect.
So like,
curious how you have this laid out.
Yeah.
Nice.
So basically, they're here.
Oh, geez, eh? Do you just find like a text art and you just
text art.
That's sick, dude.
Fun
That's
as
sick.
something I wanted.
That's sick.
I even got it on my watch too.
Oh, geez, so it's no going away. Every
It's
time
not
you
going
check the
away.
time or check a text.
So like, and
interesting. Smart.
and I don't
Smart.
like. That's probably gonna sound very, very arrogant and cocky.
No.
But to where I want to be, it's just like this is what I got to do.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's
Because like
arrogant or cocky though. I think that's like you have every right to be selfish for your goals, dude.
Yeah.
It's
just weird to
what
be
you
like
want, right? So
to be selfish towards something, right? Like I sacrificed a lot in the last year of like this is what I do. I got to do this, and it's not gonna happen by me getting sloshed on a Friday night. You know what I mean? And then
no, it's a good point. No.
So now that I see this, I'm like, okay, I got to go to bed now.
Right.
I see my goal. I see the time. I'm like, okay, it's 9:30, 10. I got to go to bed.
So is that how you make? Do you refer to those goals for every small decision, or just like
100%.
major ones, like everything? Like, do I skip breakfast? Do I grab this coffee? Do I do this
100%.
show? Yeah.
100%. So like, I got coffee at McDonald's on my way here. Okay. So like, I could easily take 4 junior chickens, 4 McDoubles, and let's party.
Yeah, and it's not gonna make a dent. Eh? You're just like,
oh man,
gone.
Food.
I'm grabbing food. Yeah.
Fuel.
That's crazy.
But if I want to be able to train later tonight and push 400 pounds on a back squat, it's not going to be that. Okay, cool. I was at McDonald's. I bought myself. I didn't eat today yet. So I had breakfast, but I haven't ate since. I haven't had lunch.
Geez, yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I could still cheat, but what's the best thing on the menu? I'm like, I took a Mac wrap, grilled chicken.
Yeah.
I took the best option.
Yeah.
Instead of
That's
like,
not bad.
yeah, right? It's
Yeah.
like, it's not about being perfect all the time. It's just like, can you make an aware decision to make sure you're going through your goals? Because like, I could easily skip lunch, just have coffee, energy drink, couple scoop of C4 in my shake before training, and then I'd be a rocket ship. But I still like, that's not a good habit to like you got to keep that that pump juice for D-Day when you're going like on the platform.
100%, yeah. That pump juice for D-Day. That's incredible. Oh, man.
So back to that accountable, and then it's skyrocketed even more since I made the top 25 list of the Commonwealth.
Congrats, brother.
So huge, it's huge, right? It's like, oh shit, like what I've been doing and lifting bars,
it's working,
and meeting cool people, it's working. So let's double down on those efforts.
That's smart. It's not this like, oh, I've made it, let's revert back to things that didn't get me here. No, it doesn't work like that.
So last year at this time, I competed in Toronto for a competition, and that's the same competition that qualified me for the top 25 list.
Jeez,
you look at it from a superficial level, it's like, oh, it's very cool.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty sick.
It's like a good thing to put on the board and be like, oh, kids, look, Dad did something.
That's sweet, though. Yeah, it is.
And so now, like, I'm looking at it, I'm like, to a deeper level, and I've lost 40 pounds. I'm in a different weight class now. I would be at the same stage I would be. So I'm like, okay, let's push the numbers even more. Because the class I was in, it's like the 109 plus.
Yeah. So
anything over 240. But I was like, when I did that competition, I was 265.
Jeez, yeah.
So I lost 265, 270 ballpark, whatever. And I lost those pounds, competed and qualified again for provincials in a different weight class. So anything under 240.
Interesting.
So to be able to, like, not only have a better shot to my goals, but make it happen faster.
Right, which is always best case scenario.
Best
right?
case scenario.
The faster I get those, the better.
Yeah.
Huh. I don't think that's selfish, though. I think the approach you're taking is phenomenal. And I think it's underrated the importance of goal setting.
Yeah, well, you understand, like, I think we get along really well.
Yeah, so do I.
And it's the first time we meet each other. Like,
yeah, it's actually weird. I think we should. It seems like I just put a timeout here on the episode. It seems like we've known each other for a while. We've spoken, and I told a friend of mine this a while ago. I was like, "Yeah, we've spoken twice on video chat, and that's about it." You know, I don't know. Like, he's a fan of my jokes. I'm a fan of his powerlifting. You know, it goes back and forth, and we just chat both of his shows. So I'm like, oh, you know, there's a good enough mutual ground and mutual respect that I'm like, oh, you know, all right. But yeah, no, so the energy's there. That's what, yeah.
And so you understand, and like with the people you're around, you understand, like, oh, okay, you need to be selfish if you want to be there.
Yeah, but I can see at the same time how people could see that as a bad thing.
Yeah, right? So a lot of people, like,
yeah.
And it goes with, like, what we were talking before the show. Like, if you don't surround yourself with the good people,
you ain't gonna get good things done.
Yeah, so.
Yeah. And I'm sure you've heard this saying a lot before, and I was talking to my girlfriend about it recently, but if you, like, it's the people you surround yourself with the most, like, who you're around. If you do, like, an assessment or a reflection on that where, like, okay, I'm around, I work every day, but who's my bosses? Are they, like, overweight, unhealthy, who smoke a lot and have a negative attitude and are disrespectful towards women? I'm like, okay, well, that's 3 of 5 people I see every day. And then, I don't know if you've noticed this, like, to this, though, have you been in situations where, like, you've almost stepped out and had that out of mind or body experience? You'd be like, I don't like where I'm at. Like, I don't like the people I'm with every day. I don't like the attitudes they have. Or you catch yourself, even better, do you catch yourself seeing those things? Like, you say a comment or you think a thought and you're like, you know, maybe I gotta reevaluate who I'm around.
Oh,
do you ever have that?
All the time, every day. Every day.
Interesting.
It's like, do I want to be around those people more?
Like, yeah.
Like with my education background, I paid a lot in, like, my education.
Yeah.
So I don't have a lot to invest. The only thing I have to invest in, like, my life right now, it's not money because I got to pay my school debts. Right. So it's my time.
Yeah.
So I'm like, should I keep investing my time with so and so and so?
Interesting.
So it's like,
yeah.
And, like, at the end of the day, that's the only thing we all have. So, like, where do I want to invest my time the most?
Yeah, it's the most precious thing.
And, like...
That makes sense.
I have that a lot every day. So, I don't hang out with a lot of people.
Yeah.
My closest friends are all in Ottawa.
Yeah.
So, like, it's kind of hard to, like, not only go outside of my comfort zone to, like, and meet people that are as understanding of, like, where I want to be in my goals. Mm-hmm. So instead of just, like, gonna try to stay alone.
I feel, with that being said, I had a buddy of mine who said a similar thing about me, but I wonder if you notice this, because this might be something that has happened to you where, do you find, like, with, like, subconsciously or without intent, I should say, you're pushing people away by being, like, driven?
Oh, 100%. I totally get that.
Yeah.
Because, like, we talked about that in my class this week.
That's awesome.
It's like, think about the horse with, like, the guide or whatever. Like
like the blinders?
Yeah, the blinders.
Okay, yeah.
It's like, when I was in college, especially here, it's like blinders open, opportunity come in. But as soon as I try to figure myself out, I cut those blenders and I'm like...
Yeah, the blinders laser focus.
I said blenders. That's a pair of...
It's okay, man. I just agreed. Like, I was like, oh yeah, your class this week. Like, I was in it.
But it's funny because, like, I progressed to, like, this is where I want to be. This is my lane.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to stay in this lane as much as I can and as long as I can be.
Yeah, and it makes it tougher to find like-minded individuals. And then there's, like, a loneliness factor that comes with it. But then there's... like an ability, and I caught myself doing it this week where I like felt like crap, but then I switched and I like the ability to be laser focused because you know exactly, like you have it written down. You're like, these are the things I want. Refer to that list when feeling like shit. And I go, okay, pick one right now, 2 hours, let's fucking laser in, and let's get this. And then that's something that I found is like, when my buddy said it, he was like, man, like because I was like, man, like I'm not friends with this person anymore. I'm not friends with that person anymore. We've been friends for this long, you know. And then he's like, dude, like sometimes he's like, man, when because I guess his thing was he felt this way, and he doesn't anymore, which is great because I love the guy. But it was something like, he's like, man, when you're driven and the energy you put out, you're like, let's go, let's get it. It's a very attack approach on what you want out of this time we have, and if there aren't people who either agree with it, are there to support you, or to benefit from, or you can benefit from being around, it's kind of like, well, peace. And then that, they're like, oh, maybe that makes them feel insecure about their things. Like, maybe they don't have it written out. And they see and they're like, well, I'm working out to get in there, like, oh, Pat's, like, killing it. He's, like, top 25 in, like, Commonwealth. Oh, man. Like, and then it's like, ooh, you know, I'm going to stay away because that makes me feel this way.
Yeah.
That's what I'm kind of like, I think was what the message he was giving. But it's like, it's tricky, right? You push people away. It's an intimidation thing. And it's, well, peace out. You're not in like the 5 people you're around the most. That affects you. And it's crazy because I never would have thought. So it's interesting to hear that that's something that,
but
like, you
want those homies to call you out on your shit.
You do.
Because, like, that guy, that homie, you're like, because that means you're just, like, closing the blinders even more.
I would have never noticed.
And then he's just like, yo, Glenn, snap out of it, open the blenders a bit, we're here for you. We're here to support you.
Interesting.
So, like, a lot of my friends are like that, dude. They're going to call me out.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
They're going to call me out on my stuff and be like,
man.
Pat, like, you know, it's okay to relax. It's a long game. And I'm like, oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah. Fuck you, but you're right.
I hate what you're saying.
I hate because you're saying the truth.
Yeah, you're right. I understand what you're saying. I just don't agree with you.
It's like when I don't know if your girlfriend calls you out on some stuff, like, but mine is she's gonna call me out on something, and I'm
all
like,
of it.
I'm gonna walk away from
God
this.
Damn it. Yeah, dude. Every time I'm like, Glenn, you do this. Sorry, babe. You're right. They're always right. That's the worst part about it too. Is like they'll never say something out of like animosity towards you because they have no reason to be like. They're not. I wouldn't think of my girlfriend this way, and like she's not like a friend where my friends would be intimidated by it or not. She's like, yeah, I'll support you. Cool, let's do it. Let's have fun. You know, whatever you're in, I'm in. Let's do it. And it's a lot easier than, at least this is my case. You know, some people might have non-supportive girlfriends, which I don't know what that's about, but. They're like, oh, well, okay. Like, they're on your team. They're not in the same league playing for a different team, which is what friends, or sometimes friends could feel like, right? So, yeah, I'm like, oh, thanks for calling me out of my shit for the 5th time in the last 27 minutes. How the hell? God damn it.
What?
You're always right. It sucks. Yeah, dude.
And I get it speaks to motivation to the next level, right? Of like,
it does.
Yeah, you need to be, when you need to be on, you need to be on.
Yeah,
but
you gotta be in it.
You gotta change gear because if not, if you rev that engine too much in 6th gear, you're not gonna go far.
No, not at all. Huh. Yeah. I think you're definitely right. You're definitely right. And that's something that I don't think a lot of people for some reason, and this could just be with the community like in the city, but because it's hard to find them, but when you do find them, like you, Chris, Cliff, like all these people who are very, very like out there and people have like a weird animosity towards like the energy they put off, but it's like, hey man, they're doing their thing. I get it, it's public and it's in the public eye, but I have this, and this is part of why I like, we'll go back transitioning to the podcast part, but excuse me, how you have a show, I have a show, there's a bunch that I've like had one or two of the people who have had shows on, and I look at it and I go, I'm gonna be number one, you know? And it's something that is like, I want to be the best at this thing. And then I know, somebody said it where they're like, I know I'll never, I think it was McConaughey's Oscar speech where he's like, I want to be my hero 10 years down the road, right? Great speech. Great speech, dude. Hits in the feels.
All right.
Dude, he says, and he's like, I'll never be my hero. I'll never attain that, and that's fine. But it's the staying focused on that, like, episode, when we talked about this a while ago, right? Like, episode 1 versus now. And you said it, too, earlier. In this episode, you're like, hey, man, like, my communication and articulation, especially in English, too.
Yeah.
Right? Because your first language was French, right? Or is French. Yeah. No, it was, right?
Probably was now at this point.
So it's, yeah, that's what I mean, right? So it's like, it's gotten that much better just from speaking it, which is fascinating, dude. So it's super cool. What started, like, what inspired you guys to create a show? Like, tell me a bit about that.
So Pat and I, like, we're listening to podcasts the whole time, right? Yeah. Like, Rogan, right? Like, we got to look at the GOAT of podcasts.
The GOAT, 100%.
And we're like, man, like, we're surrounded by cool people.
Yeah.
Our friends are really cool people. We want to share their story. We want to share this. Mm-hmm. And, like, we're looking at podcasts from, like, this, like, front row seat of the show. And you're like, oh, my God, podcasts are so cool. Rogan is so dope.
Yeah.
And then you got, like, very entrepreneurial-based podcasts. And you're like, man, I just want to, like, talk to those people.
Yeah.
And having a podcast to, like, have long conversation about a skill, money, where you come from,
right,
why you're here. Mm-hmm. It's very, very important to have. And, like, some people, like, they're trying to get there or be the best in entrepreneurship, per se. Or, like, one podcast I really love, it's Tristan's Richie.
Yeah.
He talks about his market and why he's doing it.
Yo, yeah, right? They're, what's it called again? They're like
a Real Richie, or the Lake City.
I think it was Lake City. Yeah, because he does it with David. Because I've talked to David about that. Yeah,
and I think it's cool because, like, shout out,
yeah,
for sure. Shout out another show on your show. Sorry, man.
Yeah.
But it's cool because, like, it offers a specific niche market for someone to, like, what you said before.
Yeah.
All right, you want to learn about houses and your community? Listen to this show.
100%.
Like your buddy of, like, having that resource for those people.
Yeah.
FAQs of, like, okay, cool, listen to this.
Mm-hmm.
For us, for our show, it was just like, we want just to get better at conversation. We've been stuck at home. My buddy Pat and I, he wasn't in Ottawa at that point. I was here, and we were calling each other and having deep, meaningful conversation every day that we're talking about training, like, thinking about running to, like, life. Yeah. And then having those, like, very transitional kind of, like, conversation about life to training and then to, like, business and how to apply this to this to that. And you're like, oh, okay, well, how about we record those and learn a bit more about, like, different people doing different stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the intent. Press record on the show, and we're like, okay, let's do it and let's get better.
Yeah, here we are. I love it.
And the big thing I told Pat, I'm like, let's get to 5 episodes.
Huge.
Because, like, most podcasts last year, like, I was listening to podcasts and, like, a lot of people don't get to 5. They quit before 5. When
I was doing a podcast, like, 101, like, introductory course at this Wordstock festival, literary festival, like, 2 years ago, I met this guy named Ryan McMahon, and he has, like, the #1 Indigenous podcast in the world. And so it's insane. So, like, meeting him and I talked to him after, obviously. I was like, hey, man, like, can I just pick your brain? He's like, yes. So he led with a statistic that says 83% of podcasts don't do more than 3 episodes.
Ridiculous.
Blew my mind.
Bonkers.
And I agree. Completely. Like, it makes a lot of sense. I was like, huh, yeah. So I love that, like, 5 was you're like, yo, milestone 5, only go up from there.
Yeah, and then, so the goal was that we had, Pat and I were, like, shooting the shit pretty much on everything and anything. We recorded a podcast in Martin River.
Yeah.
On his camping site before we went out and like have bonfire and have a couple beers.
Yeah, a couple, love it. Yeah.
And then that was really cool because like we're like, oh man, we just pressed record and then that's it. Yeah, it's over. So that was really nice. And then moved out to having Junior who talked about film. Like I'm the guy who doesn't know nothing about a laptop and a computer. You press power and then I'm kind of good with like Google spreadsheet. But that's pretty much it. And then we're talking about like movies and like how different movies are made and
interesting.
Because like you look at movies, my favorite movie, it's like Remember the Titans.
Nice. Yeah.
Like and Ain't No Mountain High Enough. You know what I mean? And like greatest movie, and then we're talking about how those movies transition and the Star Wars history about movies. And then we had our buddy Eric that has a gym and like has a gym in Ottawa during a pandemic.
Crazy. That's cool.
And we're like, God, this is fun. Because we're all out here putting information, talking to people every day.
Yeah.
If we could have someone talking about their craft and what they're doing on a day-to-day basis, this is cool because like not only we get educated on something for an hour, 2 hours, or 3 hours, but we also share someone's goals and passion into the world.
Right, and I think doing it, and I love that you and Pat's, he's not in Sudbury right now, is he?
Yeah,
he is? Okay, he is.
Spoiler alert, our episode is releasing, what are we today? The 21st? And he just moved back here, got a house in.
Perfect. Oh, congrats for him.
Yeah.
That's sick. I love that was like the entry point of why you guys did it, and the inspiration for it was that you wanted to get better at conversation, because that it shows me that you can't cap that.
It's super subjective.
It's crazy, right? It's up for interpretation if you're even good at conversation. There was a time where I wasn't, but I always liked telling stories. And I had friends, like you said, who'd call me on where they're like, yo, don't try to be the center of attention. Like, just listen to it, and like it develops through listening. Because it's not so much storytelling. I was like, that's a skill, but it's like, yo, listen, communication, everything, and then that forms the ability to be good at conversation, right? And then being open to learning about it, why I love what you guys are doing so much. I'm like, man, if that's the inspiration, there's no like cap on it, right? You can't there's no limit to it. You just succeed, and you're like, hey, how good can we talk to people? And you're sharing really cool stories, right? So I think that's something that's fascinating me about your show, and then being able to chat. And then that's why when you said it a while ago, you're like, man, you should come on ours when I do. I'm like, man, that's sick, because it's in like I'm really happy we were able to do this in person, and we were able to wait and not do it over Zoom, right? Because I think in person, and like you said, coming into my element to do it, and then me going to yours and doing it, and like seeing a complete different setup, right? Different level type of transitions, questioning, segues, and then me, like that's half of my goal, right? It's like, man, I want to see how good I can get in conversation and just storytelling and all that skill, and like you said, right, meet the cool people. Like that's what we're here to do, dude. Like it's sick. So it's awesome to hear.
It's super, like it goes really well with like Pat and I's like outlook on a lot of stuff. It's like very subjective based.
Right.
Like, okay, cool.
Perfect.
My watch gonna tell me I slept 8 hours. Good. But like I could feel like shit after 8 hours sleep.
Yeah, it's true.
So like it's very, very subjective, and like we can't, like you said, you can't put a cap on that.
No.
You're gonna always get better.
Yeah.
And same thing for me. Like I'm sure now that you have a podcast, like you get excited from, like I said, motivation and accountability. You got like
I did, dude.
Super excited, right?
I was there. You're like,
oh, but that's true. I'm gonna wait.
Yeah.
And actually have a conversation about this.
Yeah, it's something that's quite literally exactly what happened. It used to be something that I didn't know I wasn't doing, and then got to something that people would tell me to do, and then got to something that now I subconsciously, I'm just like, okay, like it's weird, because I was talking to a friend, like my Ecuador trip leader a couple years ago. I was talking to her like about 8 months ago at the beginning of this pandemic thing. Shout out to her rocks, and she was like, something along the lines of like, it's weird being a host for the reason of the challenge then becomes, well, and I'm sure you've noticed this too, and let me know, but when you say something and I ask a question, right? You respond. Not only am I trying to be it's a challenge between being as engaged into what you're saying and understanding it so that the conversation's real. But it's also a matter of I'm having to now at the same time, right, think about where this is going to go next. It's a weird, like, you're playing with that line where you're like, okay, I'm 100% zoned in. You stop talking about, right, I'm supposed to think of something, right? So I don't know if you've noticed that with your show, but that's something that's like, I was made aware of a year ago, and I was like, oh, that's what I need to be doing. So.
And like, this is like a skill of its own, right? Like from day one we grow up, we are forced to talk.
Yeah, always.
When do we
express
this?
Yeah,
exactly. We're talking about expression. We would never downshift it to like another idea.
No, you're right. Interesting.
That being said, like we're never able to like downshift. But look at social media now. Like we're always, and I'm sure like I'm thankful for all my right I've done in my education, like from high school being in like a full jock to like now, because like I'm able to like understand when I need to push and when I need to regress. And that's me just like
interesting,
big like reflection of like where I was and now where I want to be.
And what was that reflection process like? Did you have like a moment that triggered your need to reflect, or did you that's just something you've always been doing?
Oh, it's okay to fail. Like it's something when I realized the fitness field was just a way to express my passion more than like my needs was a way to like, okay, you got to reflect and think laterally about the stuff. Because I was listening to like, I'm a big fan of like a lot of podcasts, and
same.
There are a lot of like fitness people talking to other people, and we were talking about this before. We're like, we just want to meet cool people.
Yeah. So
it's very important we're able to reflect on and be aware of like our situation, and like when we failed and when we were successful. So like, how can this success or this failure can lead to a better tomorrow?
Right.
Or how can you build on this?
I love that, dude. That's something that, and I think we talked about this, and it's funny because this is actually something that I talked to Rob about before we recorded this year. But I was like, man, I told him, I was like, hey man, question for you, just curious, like right when we did our, like the initial FaceTime we do, and I was like, hey man, just out of curiosity, and you could probably test this too, in what world would me saying, hey man, I'm a big fan of your work, can we just have a chat for a bit, would you actually look at it and go, yeah, sure, I'll give you an hour and a half of my time in a couple months when I'm available? Yeah. You'd be like, get lost, homie, kick rocks. Right? We talked about this, didn't we? We're like, nobody would.
You said that on Michelle's with the when you could slide in someone's DM and say like, hey, let's chat for an hour and a half.
It's weird. Like, it's very weird. Unless you have a show. You're like, hey, this is the reason. It's a chance for you to spread your message and a chance to, like, I just see you as a cool person to be a part of this journey with me. And I think you could benefit my audience a lot, or my audience could benefit from you a lot. And it gives you a cool chance to spread your message.
Yeah.
Which is what the delivery is. It's like, hey man, like you got a vision, you got a message, you got a cool mind. I don't just go, oh, this person's got a couple thousand followers, let's send them a message. Oh, they responded. Now what? No, it's like there's a process, and I'm curious to know what your guys' process is, but going through how the guest comes on, right?
So
like, what's your process like for that?
I'll be honest, you have a way more organized process than like Pat and I.
It feels,
because like,
I don't know.
So I'll tell you, Pat and I don't have notes. Like, I think you're fucking cool because you have
thanks,
notes.
Man.
I have 2 more F-bombs to drop.
Fire away. I love your guy. You're like, all right, I'm at 8. Crap. Decent.
But you have notes. You organize your thoughts before. Because Pat and I, with the idea of like, we just want to get better at talking to people and like listening. We just like wing it, press record,
smart,
and then we try to like, if we got to edit the episode, we don't put it out.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's cool.
So like, and that was one thing Pat and I said, like, we don't want to edit it.
That's sick.
Raw footage, because like
that's intense. Good for you guys.
And like, really? That's why like I'm like right now, like usually we're gonna like say something about whatever, and you're like, oh, this was probably not the place to say this.
No.
But it made my next couple phrases of conversation better because I said that. I need to be more aware of what I'm going to say next.
Smart.
And we released some stuff, and like at one point, like Pat and I, we got 3 episodes we didn't release, and we'll never release because we're like
12 recorded, only 5 are up.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
But it's just the fact of like if we got to do too much edit, it's not a good conversation.
Interesting. I like that.
So I think we're trying to keep it around. Like I'm gonna put a number here, but we don't want to do more than 5 edits per episode.
Right. Like you want to do if you need
put
to
the intro song. Put the intro song. Put me saying something dumb oftentimes, cut that out, and then put the outro song. And then Pat, if you're listening to this, man, love you, dude, because you're doing a great job with editing, because I don't know nothing about editing.
You're like, dude, I'll turn the computer on for you any day of the week.
I'll press on and record, but that's it.
But I do those things well. That's dope. That's cool, though. I think that's the right way. I think for the goal of why you're doing it, I think that's the perfect way to do it. Because setting it up how I'm setting it up doesn't, and I love that it's different. Like, it's different, but it's the same, you know? Like, they're both a podcast, fall under the umbrella, but I'm like, I'm sure you prior research your guest, or at least find out about it, or you just, that's even better, dude! That's even better, because look, that's what you want, right? That's your goal for it, and it wouldn't be as genuine, or you wouldn't be getting better at the skill of conversation if you're prepping. Right, like mine's for every single individual episode. And remember when I told you at the beginning, I was like, I want to feel like it's a conversation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
As much as like every now and then I'll be like, okay, what is it? You know, just a quick glance because I'm like, okay, we get like for the structure and the vision of the episode. So I think that's sick. How you guys are doing it for what you want to do.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And like, we just try to get better at conversation. Like, but for you, like it goes with like what I was saying with Richie. Richie has a specific goal.
Yeah.
Learn about houses. You have a specific goal of like, hey, how can I influence people to make better decisions after high school?
That's it.
And
that's
like,
all it is,
learn the story about Rob, about Michelle, about Cliff, Andre, Mitch, and
you
just
you're like,
I just lift weights and massage people and tell them like, hey, move better. Just go for a 10-minute walk.
I love it.
And but it's funny because like, it's cool to see where people came to be where they are.
It is, yeah.
Like, it's incredible. Like I watched it with Rob.
Yeah.
I listened to the episode, and then I went to see Blue Mountain State. I'm like, man, this guy's a really good actor.
Dude, I don't know if you remember this. And I was watching the final, like the series finale with my girlfriend like two nights ago. And I was like, babe, you know what's crazy? And I'm like, he auditioned for the role of Harmon, the kicker.
Really?
Yeah, I think he touched on that like briefly. He's
just a bit,
right, like briefly, right? But it's like, yeah, he auditioned for the role of the kicker, didn't get it, because the whole goal is like, I'll be some fat lazy kicker, you know, no. But he's like, nah. I ended up not getting it. They gave it to this guy, which was phenomenal, right? Obviously, but he's like, they made that character, and they said, we like what you're bringing to the table. We're gonna keep you on board. And now to see the whole series, right? And you go, oh man, it's developed. He's a great actor. That was just based off him not getting a role, but then liking him. And so me thinking that, I was like, and I watched it, I was like, because when I reacted to it, I was like, dude, are you serious? Like, that's crazy. Right? Like, being able to, like, do that and, like, having that ability, I think, is super cool. But me knowing that, and then being good at that, and then finding a balance or a similarity where it's like, okay, this is the train I'm on. I think his story is best for this because he's Canadian, right? So I'm like, okay, this is perfect. Why would I reach out to somebody in the U.S. who I have no connection to? It's like, well, I've seen this guy's like the few the roles he's been in. Yeah, exactly.
You share the maple syrup.
Exactly, dude. It's all in the same tree, right? But it's like, well, the education system's different. But now knowing that it's different in Quebec, I can't believe I had no idea.
And, like...
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I live just across the board, man. Like, I'd go to Le Pub all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You like, first year for, like, university or, like, college, you're just like, oh, I'm just gonna go across the bridge, because, like, 18 years old, I could get lit.
Yeah. Dude, that's it. But the best part is, like, I turned 18 on, like, in the summer, graduating. So I graduated 17, July 1st, greatest day of the year to have a birthday. I'll challenge anybody to this day about that. And then 18 on that day. And then September, I'm in school. So I find out, I'm like, oh, Quebec, dude? I'm 18? Sign me up every Friday. Left early from class. I regret doing that. I really shouldn't have done that. Well, my parents did. I did, right? People paying for my courses. But dude, that was the thing. And I have such a good story for it. I want to tell you on your show though. But yeah,
keep that
like,
for the show.
With Le Pub and stuff, dude. Like all that kind of stuff is crazy. So like to think all of that, and then in Ottawa, me being so close and not knowing, like that's sick that you guys had like an extra year of school.
Yeah, so
just to figure out, and that's mandatory.
Yeah,
but it's cool that it's like a mid transition. It's not like, oh, you have an extra year in high school to play sports. That's cool.
Yeah, so like a lot of like kids. So you look like, if we're talking about sports, because that's the only reason I know how it worked in Quebec. Because I grew up in Rockland, and I'm like, oh, Quebec is on the other side of the river.
Very far from where I went to school.
Yeah, I could take the ferry, buy cheap beer, walk back, and it just cost me $24.
Decent.
Right?
Decent.
But like, so for kids that were graduating from high school, that go to Quebec, they pass 2 to 3 years in Cégep. They go to University, they're 20 to 21 years old. Mm-hmm. So like, they're more mature, smart, a bit more agile, a bit better skill-wise than like a kid finishing like grade 12, 18 years old, going to like university in BC or Ontario. And okay, by the way, kid, you gotta wait 4 years to make the starting lineup.
Crazy, isn't it?
Right? Compare like a kid just shows up to like Cégep or college ball, plays for 2-3 years. Oh, you're really good. Show up on my team. You're gonna be a starter day one.
Yeah.
Right.
More time to like
develop
you said, mature and develop. Yeah. Crazy, man. There's one thing I do really want to know. Okay, so would you say you competed like when you in the Toronto last year, right? You said what, you're like 260, 265, you said?
Yeah.
So how many months later, I don't mean to double barrel this question, but how many months later, and what weight were you when you ran? It was the half marathon? Yeah. That's absurd, dude.
Okay, so
that is crazy.
I'm gonna backtrack that to I'm not supposed to run half marathons. Like, you look at someone, you're like, oh, I'm a runner. You picture like slim, thin, Johnny that like showed up cross country tryouts and then just kept running.
He just did not stop.
He was just like, oh, you can't play football. You're too small. You're gonna get hurt. Go play track and field. But that's what we picture, right?
That's it.
And so for me, I'm a bigger dude. I'm not supposed to like run for 2 hours straight. So okay, I'll tell you the full story. Okay,
so away.
Competed in February last year.
Right.
Whatever weight I was.
2019.
2019. Yeah. Wow. 2020. Sorry.
Right. Okay.
2020.
Yes, we're in 2021. Jeez.
Yeah. Well, time flies when you're having fun, eh?
That's it.
Or like when life is on pause. Either or. Yeah. Pick your choice. Pick your poison. Yeah. So, and then I after that, I took the plane probably a week after, 5-6 days after that. Took the plane to go to Austria.
Yeah.
Meet one of my friends that she was playing volleyball there.
That's sick.
So we traveled Europe over there. All the people that was on that trip, love you guys. I'm gonna tell them to listen to this show. Like, guys,
do it, man. Do it. We'll get into that trip in a sec.
And that was like beautiful time.
Yeah.
Drank so many beers, had so many cheese. Then came back and I'm like, gyms were closed. I stopped working for 4 months because massage therapists couldn't work for the first 4 months of lockdown. What? And I'm like, okay, cool. And my barbell and my gym equipment, my dad had in the basement at home.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, well, I guess. And then Pat's like, hey, yo, 7K, homie, can you do it? And I'm like, dude, I just came back from a trip of me walking 22 to 30,000 steps a day, huffing and puffing in Austria.
Jeez, dude, yeah.
Like, and I was a big guy. Like, I was 260, 270 pounds. Me walking with my friends? No, please don't. Like, can we just take an Uber or whatever it was? I don't want to walk.
Yeah. Jeez.
And then I was like huffing and puffing for 2 weeks. I'm like, okay, I got to change something. Lockdown showed up. Pat's like, hey, 7K, homie, try it. Took me an hour to do it.
That's not bad.
For a 7K,
that's not bad.
For a guy of my size at that time, I was like, hey,
that's not bad.
But the last time I remember doing a 10K took me an hour. Which was like 7 years prior.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is not acceptable.
Makes sense, yeah.
So I start running for like the whole summer. And I was like, okay, I got to count my calories, count weight, blah, blah, blah. And then I did a half marathon. Mike told me, hey, half marathon tomorrow morning. I'm like, what? Sorry? Yeah. I've just been running for like 3, 4, 5 months at this point. Mm-hmm. It was June, and I'm like, no, we're not running a half marathon. You're like, hey, yo, homie, we're running a half marathon tomorrow morning, 6 a.m.
That's kind of the way to introduce it, though, right? If you're going to do it, I would hate to know a month in advance, dude.
Well, like, a month in advance gives you that preparation phase. So, like, the previous, like, half marathon I was running, I was sub 220.
Yeah.
Which was fine, because, like,
it's
not as much, like, impact on my legs and my joints, right? And he's like, tomorrow, we're running it. I called Pat after this, after Mike told me and like bullied me into like running that.
Bullied you into doing it, yeah.
He's like, Pat, yo, you got this. Just like make sure you don't go out guts blazing. Yeah. Take your time and then just finish it.
You're not in it to beat people. You're in it to finish, like complete it. Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, cool. Then 2 hours and 24 minutes. I'm like, oh my god, this was my best one. I was not that wrecked after this. Went home, went to work, and I'm like, ooh, I think I'm. And then Pat messaged me. He's like, hey. Sudbury rocks, homie. Let's do it in October virtually. Did it in 2:04. So I train every... Yeah, it was...
Not bad, dude.
I'm like, man...
That's quite a bit of time.
Yeah, like 20 minutes?
Yeah.
20 so it's... I'm like...
Way
And
different.
I started, like think about a half marathon, it's a 21K. Mm-hmm. So it's 3:21s. It took me for...
3:07s.
3:07s, sorry.
I'm with you, yeah.
So my first 7 I did took me an hour. Right?
Yeah.
At the pandemic time when it started. Mm-hmm. Now at the end of the in October, November, took me 2 hours. I'm like, oh my god, this is crazy.
That's wild.
So
way to go, man. That's sick.
Yeah. So like, managing weight and with all this was like a good time for me. Like not only from an athletic like weightlifting goals of like, oh, I'm just gonna lose weight, but I'm like tied this goal of losing weight with like being a better runner.
Right.
So I lost the whole weight I needed to lose from 265 to be like 240.
Yeah.
I think I weighed after that trip. I weighed at like 275.
Of course you did, dude.
Oh man, all the beers when you're in Germany.
Dude. I got some crazy stories about Germany.
You're in Germany. Dude. You're like at the pinnacle of like beer consumption.
You need to be drinking there.
We did so many beer halls. Yeah. Food was the same. Beers was great.
Yeah.
Good time was always there.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But it was just like absurd to me of like, oh, okay, I could get a better runner and then lose the weight. Okay, tie those two together. It gives me a better like weightlifting class. Just had to relearn how to move at like 250 pounds.
Yeah.
So it was really, really interesting.
Nice, dude. Congratulations, though. That's sick.
And like I think like from a business perspective, it gives me a bit like as a massage therapist, now I can treat runners.
Yeah.
Because, like, I know what it takes to be a good runner.
Right, like what hurts and what doesn't, what can, like, manipulate.
How to run properly. So I'm not only, I could be a good therapist for a runner, but I could be a pretty average coach for a beginner runner. Because I know what it takes to.
Interesting.
So, like, the goal of running or failing that first 7K gave me so many options. As like a person, like for me, like as an athlete, gave me the opportunity to lose weight, get a better time on a half marathon, and also treat runners and help them. Because like, as like for you, you're a fighter.
Yeah.
You want to go see someone who knows fighting.
Yeah, that's kind of the that's the idea.
Like, I never fought, so I'm like, if you were looking for a massage therapist that's a fighter, I'm like, sorry man, like. I'm not gonna be. If I would take you, I would make you a disadvantage. I would be at a disadvantage for you.
Interesting. Yeah, and that's I think we were talking about that when you first came here and you were seeing the setup at the gym, and I was like, man, like do that because it's a very, very, very different like between kickboxing and jiu-jitsu, and when it comes to the weightlifting and power, like you understand all that, but it's like the jiu-jitsu specifically, I think, is something not only is near and dear to my heart, but I think is something it can't be described. It has to be done. And a lot of things I think you can describe, like the pain that you could experience or the benefit that you get out of it, but I think when it comes to jiu-jitsu specifically, it's probably in my opinion one of the only things you can do that I can't explain to you. I can go, oh, powerlifting is this, weightlifting is this, I've done all these things, but then with jiu-jitsu specifically, I think it's something that you have to experience in order to understand. And that's why a lot of people, it's like, yo, try it out, just see. You don't have to fall in love with it. Like you don't have to. Just try it once, see what it's like, and understand that like it's live, right? Like the spar, like the rolling we call it, like that shit's live, right? Like that's not. It's submission grappling, right? Like you're trying to choke me unconscious, throw me to the ground, whatever, with minus strikes, right? Even though you get hit in the face here and there, but every single time, it's the only thing I think that you can simulate like an actual murder. Because it's one of those things that, I don't know, I read that, I saw that somewhere and I laughed. I was like, yeah, it's simulating murder. I'm like, that's realistically what it feels like it is.
Yeah.
Right? Well, so something that's like, you blow the whistle, slap hands, bite, bum fist, bite down the mouthpiece and go. It's something that's like, we have this amount of time and I'm trying to submit you. Essentially, that's the
Kill
goal.
you.
Yeah. Right? Because then, like, who was I saying? People have this weird thing with, like, violence, or people will say, like, oh, I'll beat you. It's like, well, there's that saying, right? It's like, well, if you've ever been in a real fight, you may not be so keen for another, right? I love that. It's too funny. But it's specific with this, I find, where, and my girlfriend and I were talking about this the other day, where it's like, I choked out a kid unconscious at a New Year's party, right? Get into that another time. But I did that, and then it was like the look on everyone's faces, and I was like, yeah, every one of those people were making jokes early, be like, oh, I'll beat you, oh, I'll hate you, oh, we should fight, like all these girls are drinking, trying to pick fights with people, and I'm like, you don't understand, it's real, this is not something that's a joke, and then when that happened, everyone was like, that's an outcome, that's a very possible outcome, and that's gentle, that's like, okay, we're gonna calm the person down, it's okay, it's good, yeah. Slept them, and it was like, this is something I'm like, you can't, like, I was talking with her about it, and I was like, babe, like, it's real, like, that's not something that's, like, that happens, like, that's just what it is, and I think being able to, that's huge though, that your goal is now, okay, you've ran the marathon, or the half marathon, sorry, and now you can go, hey, this is something cool that I now can relate to my practice, so I think that's really cool.
Well, like, speaking of that, like, you've been in a fight, you know what it feels like, you know how to be.
Yeah.
You're like, okay. Like, I show up somewhere, people are going to be, oh, he's big, he could knock people out.
Probably
like,
can, yeah.
I could.
You probably could.
Like, never been in a fight.
Yeah, you're a nice guy, though, right?
So,
like, you don't seem like...
But you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
If you've never been in that position, so for you, like...
Yeah.
Okay, so, I'm going to backtrack.
Seriously, I train a lot. I haven't been in one in a while. Just haven't been up to bars that require me to do that. I avoid the situations now. That's all it is.
Well, no one wants to... like, me lifting 200 kilos is...
Terrifying.
Terrifying. Do I want to do this all the time? No, but to be at my goals...
You do.
I need to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think from a lateral perspective from this, it's just like, for you, for a therapist to a point of view, it's just like, where was I going with this? It's like being the best server. Mm-hmm. If you want to be the best server for, like, in a restaurant, I'm not going to apply a lateral thing here. You need to eat everything on the menu to see how
interesting,
right?
Yeah.
So that's where I was going. Like, for as a therapist now, I could treat a weightlifter, a bodybuilder, a powerlifter, a runner, a CrossFit person, volleyball player, probably basketball, but other sports I haven't played.
Basketball is similar to volleyball, right? Just with the movements, it seems
similar biomechanics a bit. And
yeah, exactly.
Right? But if you're like, oh, someone shows up, I do jiu-jitsu, and I'm like, what? Hey, if you want a good therapist, massage therapist that does jiu-jitsu, I'll go see Morag Anderson.
Yeah.
Because she just started doing jiu-jitsu at a beginner level.
Yeah.
But it's depending of, like, superficial and deep level of understanding. Right? So, like, if I ran that 7K and I did it once, I can't serve a community of runners.
No, but running a half marathon.
I did it for 8 months consecutively, 3 times a week.
And the training, I think, is huge.
Right? So I was in the trenches trying to learn as much as I can. Did I stop running since then? A lot.
Yeah, mostly, yeah.
Because, like, I was tired of, like, putting running shoes and run.
Forget it, dude.
And then, but I'm going to start running again because I want to run the half marathon again.
Mm-hmm.
So.
That's cool. That's cool. That'd be something.
So, like, for me to keep tailoring to my community of runners, I got to keep up with the training and, like, to understand the game even more and how to evolve with this game.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
So, I heard this the other day. It's like a tree, right? In a tree, or think about Sudbury, you got different specialties.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be like, I'm gonna say this. If you want to be an average person, go to Good Life.
Okay.
You'll be very average there, and that's fine. That's okay. You'll have everything you need there. But if you want to be a good MMA fighter, you go at the best MMA person.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Right? Like, if you want to be a good weightlifter, you go with the best weightlifters.
Yeah.
You want to be the best, surround yourself with the best.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's kind of do it.
Like, you came up from Ottawa, you love jiu-jitsu, and you're like, oh...
Yeah, where's the best spot? I had a buddy I trained with, right? So who got me into the martial arts. He was like, hey, man, it's about 4 or 5 years ago, almost 5. And he was like, hey, man, this is what you do. Like, hey, I trained here a couple times in the summer, and then my dad works with a guy also. And they both train here, and they're like, man, you'll love the guy, Monkey, he's similar to Pablo. And I was like, hell yeah, I'm in. Cool, I just need a spot. And it so happened to move to Lawrence Street down the road from my house since I'm in the South End. And I was like, oh, perfect, sign me up. And then now it's just been this is crazy.
Yeah. The
journey. So
for me, awesome. when I started weightlifting, I started CrossFit and then moved out to Nepean to live because it was just easier. Mm-hmm. Found CrossFit, and then I'm like, CrossFit, training in a CrossFit gym. And then that was a really good CrossFit gym in town. But then when I transferred to weightlifting, I was very intimidated in going into a weightlifting only gym.
Yeah. Okay.
So as I got progressively better, and that's how I met my coaches, Sierra and Spencer, they're like, Pat, come with us. Come with us. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then they recruited me, and then I'm training with them since the last year and a half. Dude. But it's intimidating going to some place
it is, yeah.
It's very appealing to be average.
It's comfortable.
Very comfortable.
It is, and I think that's where, like you said, the appeal comes from. I think that's where it stems from. It is.
So, if you wouldn't trust, for me, I was just a beginner, in CrossFit, being okay strong, and then people are like, "Oh, Pat, you're gonna be good at this.
Yeah,
just dive deeper, deeper." And I'm like, "No, well, I'm having a good time here. I'm training with my girlfriend. Met really cool people from 1855 and Can-Am in Ottawa.
Nice.
And then I'm like, and then they're like, I probably should go train with the guys at Just Lift.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you sure? Am I good enough to be with them?
Yeah.
And then they're like, yeah, have a session with them. I'm like, oh, okay. And then it progresses to be training with them a bit, and then I moved out to Sudbury. But it gave me that oh, I'm able to train with them and lift with them.
Yeah, you can hold your own.
I could hold my own. I could have a good time with them. So that triggered that relationship of oh, okay, it's okay to be uncomfortable and being the chaser of instead of being the guy being chased. So training partners, the idea of Louis Simmons from West Side. It's you need two type of training partners: people you got to chase and people you're running away from.
I see. That makes sense.
So instead of
cool.
That's a real thing, right?
Yeah.
So instead of being average, I was in a really good gym and in a really good space, and now moving to that cross with Spencer and Sierra, it was is that okay? So, but yeah,
that's cool. Being around those people and then being chased, I think, is huge because you have people you want to rise with, and then I definitely have training partners, as I'm sure you do that. I'm I better be. I gotta be better than them. I gotta keep and it's if they start getting the better of you, you're I'm slacking. I gotta pick it up because you know where you're at, and you're hey, I'm rising with them, or vice versa, they're rising with me. Oh, they're getting the better of me. I gotta do some more work, stuff like that, right?
And it talks about the blenders, right?
Yeah.
The blinders, or the ship, the tide rise all ships.
Yeah.
Right.
It's I think it is the quote. Yeah.
So I think being aware of who you're surrounded with, and goes back to surrounding yourself with the good people, it helps even more to achieve those goals or get people better to your own level. Because if the tide ride all ships, but you're still anchored, you won't go far.
Yes. Yeah, that's sick. I like that a lot. Oh, switching gears a bit, what was your trip to Austria and throughout Europe like?
Oh man, bonkers, man.
Yeah?
Balonies, dude.
Yeah?
I couldn't believe it. So my friend Caro got a pro contract after she graduated University of Ottawa.
Damn, good for her.
And like we were playing beach volleyball all together all summer, and she's like, "Oh, I got a pro contract. I'm leaving for Austria." I'm like, "What?" All right, cool, girl. Let's go. Good for you. And then we're chatting. Her boyfriend is a seasonal worker, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go see you when like the season ends, because he has like an agriculture farm."
Yep.
So he's like, "Okay, well, the Christmas tree ends at this time. I'm gonna take the plane. I'm gonna be with you for like from Christmas to April."
That's sick.
And he went out in Austria, did a lot of skiing and like the Alpines.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, "This is cool. Let's do the trip."
That's sick. Yeah.
And we haven't seen each other. She basically, when she left for Austria, my girlfriend and I left for Sudbury. Most of our friends were still in Ottawa at the time. They're still in Ottawa. But we're like, "Okay, we got to make a trip out there."
Of course, 100%.
Make the trip,
Yeah.
and then her and her boyfriend basically give us the trip like around Innsbruck in Austria.
Yeah.
Have you been?
Okay. I've been to Vienna.
Oh, beautiful!
Yeah,
Man,
amazing,
okay? You went to Vienna. Have you watched an opera?
No, I haven't.
Oh,
no.
dude. Okay.
Yeah.
So we basically Austria. We did Innsbruck. We saw her game in Klagenfurt.
Yeah.
Hallstatt from Frozen, which was a beautiful city.
Nice. Yeah, okay.
We did Munich, Vienna, and then we did Lucerne in Switzerland.
Nice. Oh, that's sick. Yeah, I've never been to
Vienna,
Switzerland.
but Vienna, we were all here walking on this lap, like the whole shopping mall, and we're like,
That's sick.
someone hustles us for like an opera.
Okay.
And I'm like, "Guys, it's either a fuck yes or a fuck no."
Yeah, we're either 100% down or we're not doing it.
And I'm like,
all.
"Nah." I'm like, yeah. My friends are like, "Okay, we're doing it." I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna follow."
Okay, if you're in.
Dude.
Yeah, nice.
I'm like this.
The whole time just in awe?
Dude. Oh,
What's
man.
going on?
What's going on, man? And like I'm a kind of like very fascinated by skill and people perfecting their craft.
Yeah.
Man, there's someone like on the violin, like sizzling that violin like crazy. I was just like,
That's insane. What the?
"Oh, yo, for 2 hours, man." I couldn't
That's
believe
wild. Oh,
Couldn't
man.
believe it.
That's sick.
But the trip was so cool, man. Like
Yeah.
you see such a different, and like it made me appreciate so much more what we have in Ontario. So we did
Yeah,
that trip.
sure.
We did that trip. And it's basically like we were traveling, walking around with our friends, and like shenanigans every day to see and like travel, which was great.
It's the way to go.
And with basically no plans, small ideas of what we wanted to do.
That's perfect because I think the way I'm similar to what it sounds like you are when you're overseas or traveling anywhere really new that's not where you were born is, and even I try to do it a bit here, but it's tough here, right? Especially where you grew up. But it's when you don't have a plan, it means anything can happen.
Yeah.
Right. But if you're like, no, we can't go watch the opera. We got this reservation at the. Relax. Just go see. You know.
And it was weird because it was my first time taking the plane across the ocean.
Oh, jeez.
And I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah, let's go.
And
Easy.
we just basically had no plans, had a good time, and it was definitely like just breathtaking.
Yeah.
Like from what we saw, and like you were in Germany, right? You said.
Yeah. There's a.
I saw a
Went
picture
a lot
of
of places, dude.
a bridge,
A
a
lot
picture
of
of the bridge,
places,
like,
yeah.
breathtaking.
Yeah, that was in Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was close to Austria.
Yeah, because
I'm not good with maps.
have you like we went to see like so many cool experience with friends, but you're also like, oh my god, this is actually a real thing. We saw we visited a concentration camp.
No, what
And
was
man,
that like?
Dude, couldn't walk. Like you don't I couldn't walk. I was so emotional.
Oh yeah.
Like
Okay.
it just like
That way, yeah.
my gut felt. I was like, oh my god, what the hell happened?
This is intense. Like that's real.
It's real.
It's
like
real.
you
It's not
listen,
just what
you
you hear
read
about.
books, history class, and you're like, oh god, this is actually a real thing.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
Yeah, the opera was like, and then you have my trip is basically three things: like the game, seeing her game, that was really
I
cool.
can imagine.
And because we were going to
That's
see
it.
her play at Ottawa U, and would just get blasted and just chirp people and yell like what fans are doing.
Yeah.
Then we watched her. So that was really cool to get back to the roots of the
like
friendship.
to do that, except in Austria.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God.
That's insane.
Then the opera was really wild.
Yeah.
That's
sick.
The concentration camp was a very big eye opening on like gratitude more, like be grateful for what you have, and like seek out opportunity, try to like have a bit more reflection of things.
Cool.
And Lucerne was like Lucerne. We were there at the same time as their carnival.
Nice.
Like a very, very traditional carnival, and we're like, oh my God, this is lit.
Yeah.
But very, very like incredible. I don't know for you, for like, I was just like came home and I was like, this was wild. That was the best experience of my life.
Yeah, I think that's something that a lot of people who don't travel are missing. I think that's there's a click of maturity that happens when you go through an experience that's so out of your element that, and it's not so much just like, oh, it's a one-time couple, like it's an hour, you go do this, for example, like I do skydiving. That's like an hour. You have this experience, you go, it's crazy, it's cool, it's out of body perspective, all this stuff, it changes you. Now, it's not nearly to the crazy level, but it's basically you go on this crazy, like, I was overseas for about 6 weeks, so that's insane. It's a matter of like, hey, every single day, every hour, every minute, every moment is something that you're not used to, right? It's something that's like, it's new people, new culture, new place, new food, new country, new city, every single different day, and it's like it's an overwhelming amount of uncomfortability that I think and it's cool to hear what you took away from most of it, but it's what you're able to see and then how you use all of that to transition to the way you see the places that you're so used to living in, that I think a lot of people are missing in their maturity. And I think that's super cool that that's something that you took away. You're like, man, it's just gratitude's most of it, because that is huge. That is the thing that I think when shows blow up, when people do these really cool things, they talk about being grateful for it. I think that's the biggest part about it.
Yeah.
And that's why I think a lot of like success goes to some people's heads, where it's like they do really well to make a lot of money, to feel good. There's like an arrogance to it. It's like, well, there's no perspective there. There's no great gratitude. There's no like, it's like, oh, I made it here. Look at all this cool. I'm like, yo, you had help. Yeah. Relax. You had help. You were focused. You did your thing. Congratulations. Where's the perspective, right? Where's the gratitude? That's really cool that was what you took away from it.
So my question for you, because I've had started that practice a bit on a day-to-day basis now, since that trip.
Yeah.
What do you do to like challenge that comfortability that you have in, or like try to challenge that uncomfortable feeling that you have here?
Ooh. So how do I bring that out kind of here?
Yeah. That's just me asking that question because because you passed 6 weeks.
I love that. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff, like not to the extent of how it felt when I'm doing those experiences, but similar to this, like what this is right now, or even like with doing the podcast, and this is in no way comparable to like 6 weeks overseas in new countries and stuff, but this is something little that, in comparison at least, that I never met you before in person. So I'm meeting somebody new in person. I have this show that first time I'm doing in person this year. I have to make sure everything works, and there's a lot of little things that kind of make me not anxious, but nervous that I need to be confident I prepared for it, right? There's little things like that. There's pushing myself in different things where I'll have like a bow of, oh, I could do this or I could do that. A lot of times it's in this country, and this past year was a good example where I picked, like I went on a solo kayak trip on like this island overnight in this lake. I'm familiar with the area, but not so much by myself. I'm always used to a group of people. So doing little things like that, and then things that I'm not really used to doing, or things that more so that I see people doing online, and I'm like, I could do that. It's just trying different things that you see, but you know you're not good at. If you know you're not good at something, and all of a sudden you go into that puts you in that out-of-body experience. Example, if I were to ask you, hey man, like after this, like let's go do a show, like let's go, like if, say for example, right, not today or another day, tonight, whatever, it doesn't matter, we do a show, and then after, I'm like, okay, before or after we do your show, I want you to teach me how to power clean, because I don't know how to do that. That example of that, where it's like you who I know I like to think well enough for the amount of time we've spoken, or the amount of times we've spoken, but then not knowing Pat and then having like meeting new people, at the same time learning a new skill and then having a conversation where I know it's not going to be edited to make me sound good is tricky. Like, dude, if I say something that sounds stupid, I'm going to cut that whole part out. Probably not. I'm more lazy with that kind of stuff. But so all those little things I try to do in groups, right? It's like if I go to meet this person, like I had my buddy Ben Kovla on the show way back when. Shout out to Ben, love the guy. I was like, hey, can you do like an Eskimo roll in a kayak? And he was like, yeah. I'm like, can you teach me? And he's like, yeah. And then we finished the episode and he's like, when do you want to go? And I was like, I can go now. And he's like, I'm good now. And I'm like, okay, here we go. So I just had an hour and a half conversation with somebody who I never actually had a conversation with before this. And this is like episode 5, right? So I didn't do like the meet up with them before or anything, right? So I'm doing this thing and I'm like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. And then he teaches me how to do it in his boat, his kayak, his paddle, his lake, his house. And I'm like, so many little things. And I try to do that with not so much each guest, but each experience where I'm going overnight by myself. Place I know, but I don't know what the lake's going to be like. I don't know what anyone's going to be like. I don't know what the weather's going to be like. I don't know what I'm really planning to eat. Like, how am I going to do this? I try to create situations and experiences where there's a lot of unanswered questions and put myself out of an element where I know I'm not going to be able to like get the power cleaner, the clean and jerk right away. Right? So it's like, well, okay, well, there's all these things. Well, what do I learn about this? How do I figure that out? There's all these little things that kind of come up where I'm like, with this, or it's like, okay, I show up at the gym.
Oh, yeah.
Or with the Zoom podcast, it's like there's elements to it where I don't get to control what their connection's like.
Yeah.
I had Buddy on like my episode with Garth Mullins. There's 25 minutes where we're trying to make the Zoom connection work. We didn't end up doing it on my laptop. I did it on my phone. He recorded it, emailed me the file. That's how like bad the connection was. We tried Skype, Instagram, nothing worked. So trying all these things, and then I'm there like, oh my god, I don't know. And I have this guy who's runs this advocacy program for opioid users in Vancouver, and I'm supposed to talk to him, and he's getting frustrated, and I'm getting frustrated. It's like those little things that I didn't plan, or those experiences that I created. I was nervous enough to begin with, let alone meeting somebody new who I look up to. So all those little things I can attribute to similar feelings.
Yeah.
But then that's also where like the travel bug bit me, and I'm like, all right, where am I going next?
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, man, when you came in, I'm like, man, let's go to Toronto, like Ottawa, Kingston, Barrie. Let's do all these places, because then it's like, I don't know how it could go. I don't know if it's going to be received well. Yeah. What are people going to say when I ask them to come on? Are they going to see it and just ignore it? Are they going to be involved? Are they going to see it and respond later? Who knows, right? It's these little things I find that I try to create here, but I still haven't, I don't know about like trying to do things there. Like I did a lot of longboarding in Europe, so I try to bring that here and I longboard here and there, but it's different. Mm-hmm. It's not quite the same, but I try to pair up things. So
nice.
Yeah, little things like that. Nice. Nothing crazy. Just the little things, right, that get you out of your comfort zone.
Yeah. Like for me, like the easiest thing, it's like one night I'm gonna try to have like 3 hours of sleep.
Smart.
Just like function on 3 hours of sleep.
Interesting.
Because like right now I'm pretty grateful to the life I'm having as an entrepreneur, and like last year before COVID, I was wrestling 4 different jobs, team no sleep, trying to create my business, working 40 hours a week there, 40 hours, and now like that I have the choice to like work when I want, and like still explore different ideas of like the 60-hour work week. I'm like, okay, this week we only have like 20 hours of work. Okay, cool. That's a small week, but like in that week, you're going to function with 3 hours of sleep this week.
Huh. Because you may need to.
Because I need to be ready when it happens.
Huh. Interesting.
So like I do the same thing for my training sessions. So sometimes I'm going to train early morning, midday, or like after supper, or like after supper.
Yeah.
Like 10 o'clock plus.
Oh, jeez.
Just because like you don't know when it's going to happen, and you don't know. Like
that's smart.
So it's like more like for training related, or like if I get to compete, I like, we're going to train tonight. Like you're going to compete at 10 p.m. Ontario time or whatever it is. Yeah. Like when I'm going to be able to travel again to competition.
Fingers
But-
crossed. It's sooner than later. Yeah.
compared to in front of a computer. But like sometimes I'm just gonna be okay. Well, today we're functioning on 2 hours of sleep, 3 hours of sleep.
Interesting. That's cool.
Oh, but I could get a nap midday. So just to like remember myself, like right now, Pat, you're grateful to have a small week of like not working too much, but we got to make it come a bit harder just to like remind
That's
yourself.
sick. Yeah.
So sometimes, like at least once a week, I try to do something like that, or something so
Smart.
uncomfortable
Yeah.
to remind me, like, hey man, you're very grateful to the life you have right now.
I like that a lot. That's cool that you do that, dude. I don't think enough people do that. But that's interesting that that's what you do. Huh. That's cool. Wow. I'm trying to let that sink in because I think that's something that's super important that I almost like I want to implement. Because it's not something like little things. It's like that's something severe. You're like, I'm only going to do 2 hours of sleep. I'm like, 2 hours?
What do you do for like that other 20?
Yeah. You're like training at midnight. I'm like, what is this game? But that's crazy. How do you feel that's been so far?
So I've been doing that at least once a month right now, and it's been really cool.
Yeah, nice.
Okay, cool. Oh, today you're only having 3 hours of sleep. That's fine. And just like, okay, cool. What you're gonna do? I'm gonna intake so many caffeine, like the pump juice. I'm gonna bring back the pump juice when I need to. But it's just to like create that uncomfortability. I'll be like, okay, you're very lucky to have the life you have right now.
Yeah.
But sometimes we need to make it just a bit harder.
Huh.
Cause like, man, we're pretty lucky. Like
Yeah,
my job, I work when I want. If I want to work more, I work more.
Yeah.
But I kind of like, if I like last week I had a really really busy week in massage therapy. I think I saw the most client in this year, dude. Since this year happened.
Nice.
Since January, and I'm like, oh shit, like that's a really good work week.
That's sick.
Make sure you have the 8 hours of sleep. Like get the good routine in, because you have a busy week. You got to have a big output, not only for work wise, for like massage therapy, training, other jobs.
You got to match it with everything.
Yeah, I got to match it. But this week I'm having a super light week.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, you got to make sure you don't sleep that much, dude.
Nice.
Because like, even though like if let's say like last week, I would have more and more and more, I would have been able to sleep 8 hours plus. Well, okay, you got to be ready for when that happened.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I like that, dude. That's a cool thing that you do. I think that's underrated. I think creating those moments are super underrated. And that's something that's very, very... I look up to that, dude. That's really cool. That's really cool that you do that.
So like...
That's smart.
And I look at it from like big reflection. In high school, first 2 years of college, 3 years of college, I was like, whatever. I'm going to sleep in. I'm going to...
It's easy.
It's easy. And then you go... And then you're like, oh, things are so much easier now.
Yeah.
Like, oh, right now, oh, you mean I gotta work to pay my bills now? Okay, I'm gonna work until my bills are paid today. And then if like, okay, just to teach, like, when do we force ourselves to do something uncomfortable?
Yeah, rarely.
So, just to challenge that discomfort for me once in a while, I'm like, I'm loving it.
You need it, eh?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. Do you have any, like, overall, as we kind of conclude the show today, do you have any kind of, like, overall lessons or experiences or, like, a message you want to share?
My favorite one, like, it's nobody cares.
Nobody cares, eh?
Nobody cares. Like, I could put a post on Instagram and, like, get the double taps and I'll feel great about myself, but, like, at the end of the day, like, the only person that care, like, are a very small group of people that are surrounding me. But nobody cares if I go train at midnight.
Yeah, those little decisions.
Those little decisions. Nobody cares if I have McDonald's. Like, nobody cares about this. But if I do care enough about what I want to do, I won't do this.
I see. Interesting.
So, like,
that's cool.
That discomfort thing about, like, sleep for me, like, nobody cares about this. I'm the only one, like, caring I want the life I really want. So I'm going to do what sucks the most to be where I want to be.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Like, yeah, that's smart. That's really smart. And hey, man, it works.
Oh man, like so far.
It ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yes.
Keep going.
And it's hard too, right? Like we get so comfortable, so like try to challenge that discomfort and like one thing. And I've learned to challenge that discomfort, like that comfortableness, even more with the running. Like you got to go out. The hardest step is going out.
Yeah, it's true.
Like it's not showing up at the gym and like rolling for an hour with someone. It's like putting the car in drive at -20.
Yeah, it sucks. And the car is cold.
car is cold,
You're
right?
cold when you show up. And you're like, oh,
This sucks.
it
This
does,
sucks.
yeah.
But like enjoying this suck is like the thing. Like we're gonna like. I didn't took enough pride in like sucking, or like being bad, or forcing that discomfort when I was young. So like now I'm challenging now as much as I can, so I could be better.
That makes sense. Nice, dude. That's a very intelligent way of looking at it. I think, because I've heard similar things with like, people just don't care. It's like, yeah, but the way you're approaching that and the way your outlook on that is huge, and I think it's underrated. I think a lot of people need to hear what you're saying and apply that specifically, because I think that's something it's worked for you. It's been like similar mindset work for me and stuff like that. So I think that's something that's fascinating, and I look forward to seeing how that develops with you. So I think that's super cool, dude.
And like at the end of the day, we're all here for making our own.
That's it.
And like, so like,
we just want all those things on that watch.
Yeah.
To be checked.
Yeah, like
that's it.
This is the checklist. You don't care. You just care like, hey, am I doing well today? And that's fine.
Yeah.
But you don't care what's on the watch. I do care about what's on the watch. But if like that's to an extent.
Yeah,
right?
I was about to say to an extent, because I think
like the homie's gonna be caring, be like, hey, did you do this today? Did you do that? And that's fine. But like other people, like they won't care about this.
No, you're right. I think the overall, like the general public doesn't. Like there's that general public, and then there's people who are like-minded, similar, where it's like, hey, my goals are this, your goals are that. But I'm like, yo, you killing it today, dog? Yeah, all right, let's fucking go.
Yeah.
You know, shit like that. So it's like, all right, cool. So it's like, yes, there's a level of give a shit, and then it's no one can really ever care about your things as much as you, right?
Exactly. So
that's cool.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. And then the other one would be like, the other big message would be like, dive deeper.
What way?
Dive deeper in anything. Dive deeper in understanding, like, be the best server. Understand what's on the menu and what tastes good and what tastes bad.
That's cool. I like that analogy.
Dive deeper in, like, for me, I could dive so much deep in other courses in massage therapy and what's not. Mm-hmm. Or I could just double down on my effort in what I know and dive deep in this until I grasp the concept as best as I can.
Nice. I like that.
So, don't be afraid to dive deep. Like, we all read the first line of the book and we're like, oh, okay, cool, next book.
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah.
No, read the whole thing.
Read the whole thing.
Do your research.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Dive deep and nobody cares. That's something.
That's it, right?
Yeah.
Dude, where can people find you? What's your
easiest way to find me? It's on Instagram at the story of Patty B. I share pretty much my weightlifting content, massage therapy, and my life, because at the end of the day, it's a story. It's the story that I'm willing to share.
It's a personal brand.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And if not, in my link tree on Instagram, that's pretty much easy.
Nice, dude. Awesome. Well, I really appreciate your time. I appreciate like your gratitude and showing up here today, man. I had a blast learning from you. So
thanks, man.
Appreciate it, brother. It's good to have you on.
Yeah, man. And
awesome.
You're going to come on the Double Patty podcast.
Dude, I could not be more stoked, man. Like, I love it. Like, I have so many stories pocketed just for what I believe your dynamic is. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be good.
You're going to be a good fit.
I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm excited to be Pat. I'm excited to hang out more with you. So this will be good. So thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. Yeah, subscribe, like, do all that good stuff. And we'll see you later.